Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and welcome to my Saturday show, Encouragement for Your Life. Encouragement for Your Life is my book series, volume 1 through 3, and they're available on Amazon.com. If you've ever just needed a bit of encouragement or you're looking for a terrific gift, any one of these books would be a wonderful gift for a friend in your life when you don't know what to do. And that's a question that's come up a lot lately with some projects I'm working on. And sometimes, despite my best intention, I look down the path of life and wonder, hey, what do I do next? Well, I know what I do now. I do what clearly lies at hand. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned for the next half hour. Let's get started with today's show. I have always loved the quote by Sir William Osler, who said, "Our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand." Hey friend, I've got to ask, what do you do when you don't know what to do? That's a question that seems to have come up a lot lately with some projects I'm working on. And sometimes, despite my best intentions, I look down the path of life and wonder, hey, what do I do next? I'm sure it's an issue many of us have faced, especially in our world of plenty. We've got so many great choices. And sometimes there are more ways than one to get to the finish line. But how do you know what road to take? And what measurements should you use to make sure you're doing the right and the best thing for your life's purpose? What I have found is similar to my thought for today. Whenever I don't know what to do, I just try to do what comes next. Yeah, that's simple. What comes next? What comes next in a moderately logical order helps me move from one goal to the next job or to the next project. Instead of stopping, because stopping doesn't get you anywhere but stuck, friend, sometimes you have to make a leap of faith, a walk of courage, or a run to the finish line. Frankly, sometimes you just have to push through. So lately I've been reading a great little devotional book that was sent to me by a friend. And in the book is where I came across this quote from Sir William Osler. Our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. I think sometimes we get discouraged because although we can see a light at the end of the tunnel, boy, that end seems so far away. So instead of becoming discouraged, let's turn that into courage and do what clearly lies at hand. When you don't know what to do, you always have a few choices. You can stop, you can redirect, or you can move in the direction that you feel led. A chance for a door to open, a call to come, an opportunity to present itself. And it's okay to wait. But when waiting becomes a full stop for any reason or for any great length of time, I'm thinking it might signal to ourselves that we've given up, we've grown weary. We might have accepted the idea of failure. And when that happens, I find it fascinating that the short rest along the path for so many has really become a stopping point. The end. Finished. Now, sometimes in life you have to stop. If you're heading in the wrong direction, for Pete's sake, stop, turn around, get back on the right path. If you find yourself careening to the edge of a cliff, a friend, stop and pull back onto the road. And friend, if your life is dangerously close to ending, by all means stop and breathe and get the help you need to get back on track. Hear me, you have way too much to offer to take the cheap way out. There is no shame in stopping and waiting if in the end it would cause great harm to you and others. But instead of stopping, perhaps you can redirect your walk to set you on another path for success. I love the line, if you can get up, then you can step up. So by all means, any possible means, take the other path. Now, please don't be discouraged if others question your choice in life. Let's be honest, they don't know what you're going through. They don't know your calling. I doubt they know the reasons you have taken for your detour. But as long as you continue to move down the path for your success, our friend, hear me, I am going to cheer you on to keep going. You think about this. We all grew up with a poem by Robert Frost, the one, The Road Not Taken. Let me go ahead and give it to you right now. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. It be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. And then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps a better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. For so many who are listening today, please know that sometimes in life, you really do have to redirect or take the road less traveled to reach your calling, your destination, your future. Friend, what you were born to do. One of the reasons that the quote, "Our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand," caught my attention is that too many times I see people of goodwill simply get stuck, staring down a darkened track, hoping to make sense of the darkness, instead of turning around and looking at the light, that which lies clearly at hand. For you to be able to do that, you must move in the direction that will lead you to the light. For some listening today, that might be the hardest thing you will ever do, to stop on the path you've been going down and turn around, or redirect your steps back to the safety of the main road. Continuing down the dark path will not lead you anywhere you want to go, because in the end, the darkness will overtake the light. And I would never want you to be at the end, stuck alone in the darkness. I've said it many times on this show that there's help available, and friends, you matter. People care. And that's why you must have the strength to do what clearly lies at hand. And for those of you listening today, what clearly lies at hand for you is to redirect your steps back for your amazing future. Listen, don't shortchange yourself or others who believe in you. I have to admit, I've always liked the idea that I think so many of us have what I would call an internal compass that knows the way to what I call true north. I know you probably hear that phrase, true north, but do you know its meaning? Well, here's quickly what I found, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it later. True north refers to a point on the earth that remains stationary for all practical purposes. By using the North Star as a reference, one can always tell the direction of true north, and by measuring the angle of the star from the horizon, determine their latitude. The North Star is the last star in the handle of the Little Dipper, hence the metaphor. In life's journey, we're often uncertain where we stand, where we're going, and what's the right path for us personally. So knowing your true north would enable you to follow on the right path, or stated for my purpose today, move in the direction you feel led. I believe that each of us, when we really strip away all the expectations of others and stand alone in the light, we will find and see and make a decision to follow, or not, our true direction. Because if you are healthy enough to understand that you have been put on this earth for a purpose, you should know instinctively, friend, you have worth, you have value, you have significance. And I will add this, as a person of faith, I believe that our Heavenly Father knew us before we were born. And since He knew us then, rest assured that He knows you now, and He knows where you're going. So today, believe that our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. You have choices. You can stop, you can redirect, or you can move in the direction of your dreams. Choose wisely. Your future and the future of others who have watched you on this journey might depend on it. Before I go to break, let me finish with this idea of true north. I have to admit, I really enjoyed learning of the meaning of true north, and here's what I found. It says that true north is a navigational term referring to the direction of the North Pole relative to the navigator's position. True north differs from magnetic north, which varies from place to place and over time due to local magnetic anomalies. A magnetic compass almost never really shows true north. The direction of true north is marked in the skies by the celestial North Pole. True north is the direction towards which the actual geographic North Pole, the axis that the world revolves around. True north also happens to be within about 1 degree of the position below the North Star or Polaris. And you'll remember from science class that the Little Dipper, where we find the North Star, is called Ursa Minor, also known as the Little Bear. It's the constellation in the northern sky. Like the Great Bear, the tail of the Little Bear may also be seen as the handle of the ladle, hence the name Little Dipper. It was one of the 48 constellations listed by the 2nd century astronomer Ptolemy and remains one of the 88 modern constellations. Ursa Minor is notable as the location of the North Celestial Pole. Although this will change after some centuries due to the precessions of the equinoxes, which is gravity-induced, slow and continuous change in the orientation of the astronomical body's rotational axis. So, from at any point in the northern hemisphere, when you look towards the North Star, you are looking at true north. Okay, so my curiosity got the best of me, and I just wanted to share that with you. Friends, you're listening to Deb Sofield. This is my weekly show called Encouragement for Your Life. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after a break. Hi, I'm Deb Sofield, author of the book Speak Without Fear. If you've ever needed help crafting the right message for shareholders' address, or a national sales meeting, or a conference, call me. I can help you craft your message for success. If you're in leadership or would like to be, you know how important it is to be able to present well. I'm a national speaker and an executive speech and corporate presentations coach. Don't waste your time or your company's money on those who claim to be a coach, but no one would ever pay to hear them speak. Hire someone who does this for a living and does it well and is successful. You can't afford not to because it's about you being rock star amazing. Call me. I'd like to be on your team. I'd like to be your coach. Contact me through my website, debsofield.com. Welcome back, everybody. So my theme is rather simple, but yet pretty important for most of us. Friend, when you don't know what to do what lies clearly at hand. I came across a very interesting article in Psychology Today. It's by Robert Tabibi, and he says this: what to do when you don't know what to do, 6 ways to get yourself off the fence. He begins the article by saying, take a new job or quit an old one. Leave a relationship or stick it out and see if it gets better. Go back to school to train for a new job or stay put. Spend money to fly to a cousin's wedding or skip it and send a gift. With decisions big and small, it's easy to be uncertain. You hem and haw and sit on the fence. Our friend, time to get off. Here are a few tips that we can use to make a decision on whether we stay or we go. His first one is focus on the ends, not the means. It's easy to get these mixed up. Getting a new job or switching career may seem like ends. But are they? See, once you have a clear idea of what you are ultimately trying to achieve, you're freed up to think of other means. Talking with your boss about an in-house career option or moving to a different team with a different work climate that suits you better. Exploring less expensive online training. Driving to the wedding rather than flying. You get the idea. Focus on the ends, not always just the means. His next point is focus on your values. You decide to work on the relationship because you believe in commitment, or you leave because you believe that life is about discovering and becoming yourself. You fly to the wedding because family's always important, or you don't go because you believe relationships are lived in the everyday and need not be focused on just a few big occasions. Values in our lives act like a ballast to keep us straight. By sorting them out, you and I discover bottom lines and priorities for our life. And by building on them, we avoid regret in the future. Probably the most important message we could all share is, friend, you've got to take action. It's easy to get stuck on a fence because you want to make the right decision and you don't want to do anything until you're absolutely positively sure. This is the ready, aim, fire approach. The author says, I think it's better if you ready, fire, aim approach. Take small steps in some direction. Apply for the new job and see what happens. Go for the interview and see how it goes. Or better yet, walk around the building or check out your new future office, if you can. Also, look up how long it would take to drive to the wedding. Look up free online courses. Check out possible relationship counselors. By doing something rather than waiting, you're sure it's the right thing to do, you'll get the feedback that can help you fine-tune your thoughts and feelings. The next point is talk it out or get a second opinion. In the process of talking out loud, your thoughts often become clearer. The dots connect. By getting another's feedback, you get feedback about whether or not your thinking makes sense. This can, of course, come from a friend or a family member, a person working on another team at the office, somebody in your field you're thinking about moving into. One session with a relationship counselor or an online chat room. Again, don't dither around trying to figure out who the right person is. Sometimes you just need to take action. Probably the next point is one I think we overlook a lot, and that is trust your gut. If at some point your head starts to spin with too much information, our friend, it's time to look down and check out your emotions and instincts. Here, affirming your values and reflecting on your past experience and making big decisions is a great way of getting in touch with that gut reaction. But just as you don't want to confuse ends and means, you don't want to confuse the good information of emotions and instincts with impulsive reactions and potential of acting out. Being absolutely fed up on a bad day with a job or relationship and stomping away, well, that's impulsive and immature. Noticing an uneasy feeling after a job interview or a tug of deep regret when you think about leaving your friends and family, that's not. That's trusting your gut, thinking things through, taking it logically one step at a time. And then the last point is one I think everybody in the business would tell you. Friends, sometimes you've just got to sleep on it. Listen, you don't want to be impulsive, but you do need to take action. You need to get information, but you also ought to trust your gut and clarify your values. But here's the deal. After all said and done, you probably ought to sleep on it. After all, your hard work that's been put into thinking and figuring out and working, sometimes it's good to let go and focus on something else. Giving your mind the opportunity to shift and settle. It's kind of like the resting of dough when you make bread or the incubation stage. It's so important in the creative process. So give it a day or more. Focus on other things and then see what comes to the surface. I like that article. It's by Robert Tabibi, and he says, What to do when you don't know what to do, and it's from Psychology Today. Yeah, I tell you, sometimes it's just not easy, is it? You just think and you work and you try to make sure things work out. Sometimes you just don't know. And I think it's in those times where sometimes we need to trust the intuition, the God-given talents that we have, maybe the advice of good friends who really have our best in mind as we just move forward. But I will say this, I think the key is you've got to make movement. You've got to do what clearly lies ahead. There's a couple sayings out there. When you take the next step, then the next step appears. When you reach for the next rung on the ladder, you see where you're going. The problem is, so many times we just don't have the courage to take the step. I think that's where some of us are lacking. And yet, that is a muscle that can be strengthened for your rock star amazing life. I came across another couple articles. I'm just going to share bits and pieces. I've had to edit it a lot because I want to make it useful for today. It's by Michelle Hogan. I found it in Life Hack. And she says, when you don't know what to do with your life, remember the times you did. I like that. Because sometimes in life we find ourselves as a dead end or at a crossroad or on a path that seems to go nowhere, and we say, I don't know what to do with my life. She goes on to say, no matter what stage you are in life, friend, if you're unhappy or unsure how to proceed, then probably the most important thing you need to do is reevaluate what you believe, what you trust, what you know to be true, what you'd hoped for your future. Okay, here's the fact. You can't figure out the whole future at one time. Remember, you and I don't know what's coming next. I mean, think about this. Life is full of interesting twists and turns. But if we continually pursue things that we enjoy doing, whether for a job or a hobby, think about it. It certainly makes the journey more interesting and fun, and you don't know what the future holds. It could open doors of opportunity you never saw coming. I think another point she makes is very valuable. It's hard, but you and I need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Listen, sometimes life is uncomfortable. Sometimes we don't have enough money to do all the things we want to do. Maybe there's something you want to pursue, but you have to understand that you might be in a little pain today to have the future you were hoping for. Think about it. Once you become comfortable with being uncomfortable, sometimes things find a way to clear out, simply due to time, energy, or of course money. The next point is life is uncertain, so friends, you just need to go with it. Stuff happens. A lot of us at one point had a great house, a great job, and then suddenly the world changed. Everybody got COVID and people lost their job. They lost opportunities that they knew were just around the corner. And so then you've got to realize those are the times you just have to put one foot in front of the other and go with it. Again, this article is very clear about you need to overcome distractions and stop procrastinating. Listen, I know it's easy to take the long way around the block, but friend, time is not on our side. We're not getting any younger. If you don't start taking the time to pursue your dreams, you're going to find yourself towards the end of your life with little to nothing to show for it, but a bunch of Facebook posts and maybe TV and Netflix shows that you watched. If you're serious about pursuing a dream, no matter what it is, you probably got to get to it. Take those first steps. Turn off all the distractions in your life and go to work. Take the next step. Do what clearly lies ahead. Think about all the things you could accomplish if you would begin to say no to things that truly are not leading you in the direction of your dreams. I think another point is very valid, and that is you really sometimes just need to take time for yourself. I know people say journal or maybe meditate or simply pray or just find quiet time. I find it amazing how so few people can honestly tell me they can sit quietly for 10 to 30 minutes, not in devotions, not in prayer, but just to stop and think and then start to make a list of things that need to be done. I think it's important that we have the quiet time so we can hear what our heart's desire is. Another point in the article I really enjoyed, it was this, and the headline was simply, "Answer the door." You know, opportunity may be knocking, but if you don't answer the door, how can you take advantage of it? You must take opportunities when they are presented to you. Sometimes it's not the right time, but it doesn't matter. Opportunities happen when they happen. So friend, answer the door, or that opportunity might walk on by and knock on someone else's door. I like that. Answer the door. I'm telling you, so many times you hear of people who just stopped and they just sat things out instead of at least getting up and going with the flow to see where a possibility or an opportunity could be. Friend, it's important that you remember when trying to figure out what to do with your life that no action is an action in itself. And you were made for more than that. No action is not who you are. What you are and who you most likely are is somebody who'd like to get ahead. I love the quote, "The door will open to those who are bold enough to knock." I'm going to ask that today, starting today for some of you, that you begin knocking on doors and see what opens. See what opens so you know how to take the next step. Because opportunity is only going to show itself when you go looking for it. All right, that's my show today. I got to tell you, I have always been concerned, especially for folks who truly I've seen come to a stop in their life, because I know that's not who you really are. You're a people of goodwill and of action and to move forward, maybe not just for yourself, but for others who are watching. And friend, please know people are watching. No matter where you go today, somebody is watching. Let's make sure that they can see somebody who is forging a path for a very bright future. I'm Deb Sofield. You've been listening to Encouragement for Your Life. I tell you, before I close out today, let me just do a quick shout out. A lot of you have written to me, and I want to say thank you. I so appreciate the kind words about these shows that I'm trying to do every week. If you'd like to learn more about me and what I do, please go to my website. I'm simply at debsofield.com. My last name is spelled Sofield, S as in Sam, O-F as in fantastic, I-E-L-D. And I'd love for you to get to know me a little bit better. And if your organization is looking for a keynote speaker for an upcoming conference, or if you're looking for help for an interview, or you know somebody who'd like to go to medical, dental, law school, and they need some help, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you'll join me next week once again for Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Life. Have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for listening.